A fairy tale? Do you think they exist? The romance between Josh and Christina Hall unfolded like such. Josh and Christina delighted their devoted followers with every detail of their lives, from lavish red carpet events to private family moments. However, behind the scenes, the pair endured an unspeakable horror that instantly severed their relationship. Christina was promptly served with Josh Hall's divorce petition. What may have transpired in the background? This narrative will keep you guessing until the very end. The tragedy of Josh and Christina Hall's abrupt divorce might be grasped by looking back at the events that transpired before to that day. Josh and Christina were a power couple in every sense of the word, from their radiant appearance on red carpets to their apparently delightful lives. Theirs was an enviable love tale, full of public demonstrations of adoration and extravagant gestures. As they attended glitzy events, they never stopped smiling and never parted ways. Their admiration from the media and the naive followers who bought into their fairy story led them to follow their every action. Both romantically and professionally, they were inseparable, frequently working together on projects that highlighted their immense star power. It appeared like their marriage was picture-perfect on the outside, but looks can be deceiving. Far more complicated than the couple had anticipated, in fact. Josh, a real estate tycoon, and Christina, a popular TV host, discovered that there were fissures under their seemingly ideal lives. Unbeknownst to the rapturous audience, hints of stress and pressure began to show. Despite the emergence of rumors suggesting strife, the pair always maintained a unified front. They kept attending events together, posting sweet messages on social media, and gushing over one another in interviews. Those closest to them, however, were aware that something was wrong. The once inseparable couple was now fighting for the survival of their marriage. A rumble in Hollywood started it all. Problems in paradise. Josh and Christina's conduct saw small alterations, as seen by both fans and photographers. The once inseparable pair began to appear in public together less often. When they did, it felt like they were being more guarded and less carefree than they had been before. The pressure during social occasions became apparent to friends and close associates. It seemed like Josh and Christina spent more time chatting with strangers than they did with one another. Once animated by jokes and sidelong looks, their discourse becomes stuffy and cold. In an interview, Christina's close friend and actress Emily Roberts noted that Christina appeared distant and uninterested in things she used to love. A number of acquaintances and co-workers offered perspectives that clarified the widening divide. Josh confided in an anonymous mutual acquaintance about the growing number of fights and misunderstandings at home. Josh, who usually kept everyone cool, was just as agitated and worn out as everyone else. The buddy revealed that Christina's longtime makeup artist had observed a shift in her personality. She used to be a real livewire, but recently she's been more withdrawn and contemplative. These little but noticeable changes, she recounted, were the initial warning indications that the golden couple's relationship was struggling. It was difficult for admirers and even some acquaintances to accept the possibility that anything was amiss with the couple because of how carefully they managed their public persona. Their guarded interactions were perceived as a normal progression of a long-term relationship, and when they began to skip occasions, it was sometimes said that it was because of their hectic schedules. A perfect marriage was an ideal that the media helped to perpetuate as well. There was more favorable publicity and well-planned social media postings than unfavorable rumors. Publicists wasted no time putting an end to the rumors, and the next time the couple appeared in public, they would present a unified front. Looking back, it's clear that the warning flags were there the whole time, but their enchanted romance made it harder for anybody to notice. Suddenly, something horrible occurred one night, and Josh had no choice except to terminate his marriage on the spot because of how shocked he was. How did this terrible thing come to pass, and what was it? At a prominent charity event, the last straw was pulled. From all appearances, it was just another ordinary night. The evening got off to a good start as the pair arrived at the event in typical style, grinning for the cameras and mingling with other famous faces. Their strained relationship, though, became more apparent as the evening wore on. After the fact, eyewitnesses said that Josh and Christiana got into a violent brawl in a hidden area of the hall. While we don't know what they said exactly, we can tell that they were quite emotional. Christiana rushed out of the room, clearly distressed, and Josh clung to her, trying desperately to soothe her. It all went horribly wrong when Christiana reportedly hurled a glass at Josh in an angry outburst. Josh was slightly hurt when a fragment of broken glass hit him. Their disagreement, what was it? Is rage a problem for Christiana? Why didn't the glass have shattered Josh's skull? Christiana startled a few onlookers by hurling a glass at Josh. Security had to be summoned to separate the pair as they were escorted out of the event, which only made matters worse. Josh seems to have reached his limit at this time. They had clearly reached the end of their relationship given the public character of the fight and the physical violence that ensued. Both sides were embarrassed and exposed by the public spectacle that ensued from what had been a private problem. So what was the plan for what came next? Friends and insiders began speaking out in the days and weeks after the charity event, revealing further details about the horrific occurrence. A more complete picture of what had transpired up to that fateful night started to take shape. While Josh and Christiana Hall were residents of their normally tranquil neighborhood, the media circus descended upon their community, stealing its tranquility. Reporters and paparazzi had already started to congregate, eager to get their hands on this big news. Everyone was on edge, waiting for the couple to make a move. Josh hurriedly left their house, his expression betraying both weariness and anxiety. He left his house with a little luggage and a handful of personal belongings, dressed casually. He was moving at a frenetic pace as he stuffed his possessions into his vehicle. The flashes from the cameras illuminated his concerned look as he drove away, capturing every detail. Without pausing to address the assembled reporters, Josh hurriedly departed. People began to wonder if what he said was true since he remained silent. Even though Josh left in a big way, Christiana was nowhere to be seen. Her unexpected absence lent an air of mystery to the growing scenario, since she had not been seen since the event at the gala. Nobody wanted to spill the beans about where she was, so her loved ones kept quiet. Many assumed she had sought refuge from the paparazzi in order to collect her thoughts. Because she had been going through a lot of emotional upheaval, many were worried about her. No word from Christiana has just piqued the public's interest and worried them more. The circumstances behind Christiana's disappearance became less mysterious as time passed. With the help of her publicist, she reappeared at some point and issued a brief statement requesting understanding and solitude. At the event, she admitted what had happened and apologized, stressing the need of introspection and development. Josh chose to keep quiet, concentrating on getting his life back together and starting the divorce process, while Christiana made a public apology. With this new information came the universal question: what could have sparked such a public dispute? A number of confidential sources leaked the information since the media was so determined to cover the issue. The interpersonal dynamics between Josh and Christiana were revealed by these individuals, who seemed to be close to the pair. According to one insider, the couple had been attempting to save their marriage by going to marital therapy for months. There was clearly more damage than benefit from those sessions as the couple continued to argue thereafter. The fact that Christiana was battling her own issues, such as anxiety and despair, was another concern. The stresses of her job and the unending investigation into her private life have exacerbated her mental health issues. According to the source, Christiana's erratic behavior during the charity event was influenced by her ongoing emotional instability. Months of mental turmoil and strife culminated in the event at the gala for Josh. In order to safeguard himself from more suffering and discover a way to recover, he decided to depart and begin the divorce process. The actual fight, however, was only about to start when the smoke cleared, with each side preparing for a hostile battle over money, names, and the shreds of their once glamorous existence together, the divorce procedures were sure to be anything but amicable. How would this high-stakes drama unfold, and what secrets would be revealed in court? For many who had been following the news closely, Christiana's return to her maiden name, Evans, marking the end of their chapter together, was as surprising as the revelation of their divorce. The public and media were kept on high alert by the predictable turns and discoveries in the court struggle between Christiana Hall and Josh. The discovery of a prenuptial agreement, which neither spouse had mentioned before, was one of the most surprising things that came to light throughout the divorce process. Just days before their extravagant wedding, they signed this secret agreement that detailed the distribution of assets and spousal support. During the divorce procedures, the secret prenuptial agreement sparked heated debate. Both camps fought about the document's authenticity and meaning after its discovery, further complicating the issue. Among the many grounds that Christiana's legal team used to dispute the agreement were claims of fraud, coercion, and unconscionability. Their main argument was that the agreement was written in an opaque manner and that it was unjust and unenforceable because it benefited Josh so much. Not disclosing all of Josh's assets when he signed the agreement was one of the main points of contention. If Christiana's attorneys' claims that Josh had concealed substantial assets are true, the deal would be null and void. In order to ascertain whether or not an effort had been made to conceal assets, the court reviewed financial documents and witness statements. Christiana further said that she had been coerced into signing the prenuptial agreement. She said she felt rushed to sign the paperwork in the days leading up to their wedding, without having enough time to think it over or get a second opinion from an attorney. The court looked at when and how Christiana signed the agreement to determine if she was coerced into agreeing to conditions she didn't fully comprehend. There was not enough evidence to establish clear fraud or coercion, the court concluded, even if several parts of the arrangement were problematic. However, both parties acknowledged that the prenuptial agreement needed to be changed due to several dishonest clauses. By focusing on the provisions that were determined to be unduly unjust, the court directed the prenuptial agreement to be partially invalidated. The agreement would remain in effect, but its less favorable provisions would be amended to achieve a more equitable division of assets, according to this ruling. Still, things were heating up. The case took a turn for the worse when Christiana's lawyers implicated Josh in her case for suspected financial malfeasance. Josh strongly refuted the charges that he had been concealing assets and moving money to offshore accounts. In addition to intensifying the legal struggle, this revelation damaged Josh's reputation and raised questions about his honesty. During a very contentious portion of the divorce process, the accusations came to light. In their pursuit of a just settlement, Christiana's attorneys dug deep into Josh's financial dealings. According to what they discovered, Josh had been secretly hiding assets from them in order to avoid paying them out in the divorce settlement. This was supported by a string of questionable activities. Josh reportedly transmitted large quantities of money to offshore accounts in different tax havens, as shown by the proof. He allegedly engaged in these multi-year transactions to hide his actual wealth and lower the amount he would have to pay Christiana in the divorce. Additionally, Josh's legal team claimed that he had intentionally underreported his income and assets due to misleading statements he made in his financial declarations. Josh insisted that all of his business operations were above board and vehemently refuted the claims. The attorneys representing him said that the disputed transactions were entirely lawful commercial dealings that had nothing to do with the divorce. To disprove Christiana's accusations, they produced proof of their own, including records and expert testimony. The court finally made a verdict after months of hearing arguments. It did note that Josh's financial declarations were off, but it did not discover proof of fraud per se. In order to make sure that the distribution of assets was fair and transparent, the court ordered a forensic audit of Josh's accounts. Christiana chose to put her Tennessee property on the market for $4.5 million, while the legal processes continued. Stunning with 6 bedrooms and 6 bathrooms, the Tennessee home near Liars Fork was hers for $2.5 million in February 2021. Among the many opulent features of this 23-acre property are a swimming pool, hot tub, barn, and fenced-in spaces for animals. There is also a 3-car garage. The home's interior has a mudroom, a large chef's kitchen, natural stone walls, beamed ceilings, walk-in closets, and a wood-burning fireplace. Not only did Christiana use this house as a vacation, but it was also the location for her Christina in the Country spin-off on HGTV. She listed the property for what reason? After they split up, Josh moved into the Tennessee property following a temporary court order. Nevertheless, there has been some debate around this arrangement. After Christiana publicly accused Josh of trying to rob her and their children, he allegedly moved $35,000 from her account to his, while claiming to be taking care of the property. The divorce was already tense before these claims. The divorce procedures and property sale have generated a great deal of media attention. In addition to Christiana's declaration that she was going to market the property, she also posted many times disparaging Josh on Instagram. Has Josh treated Christiana like a victim from the start? Christiana's mental health has been identified by her legal team as a key problem that will be addressed throughout the proceedings. The chronic stress of her job and the unrelenting scrutiny of her private life had exacerbated her anxiety and despair, which she described in great detail in her memoirs. The attorneys for Christiana contended that their client was under tremendous professional pressure. She had a lot on her plate as a public person, what with her job and all. But she also had to keep up appearances for her followers and the press. They said that her mental health had deteriorated because of this continual strain. The legal team presented proof of Christiana's arduous hours, constant media attention, and personal sacrifices to support her career. According to her legal team, her mental health issues manifested themselves at the gala, and the occurrence there was not an act of hostility or isolation. They back up their allegations with medical data and testimony from experts. Who is correct? Were Christiana's feelings of despair and fear a factor in her behavior? Since mental health issues are always a major concern, the court considered Christiana's situation while reaching a final settlement, making sure she got the help she needed for her mental health. But the most shocking development came when a couple's former close friend testified that Josh and Christiana had been secretly dating for months prior to the event. No one expected this testimony, including the court and the general public. The witness said that the pair had been pretending to be happy in their marriage to appease onlookers, but that behind closed doors they were actually planning to divorce. They had made the decision to put on an act of being happily married in order to safeguard their reputations and careers. Additional tense exchanges and fruitless efforts at reconciliation followed this arrangement. Divorce had been broached several times, but the possible consequences had prevented any official action from being taken. Their marital problems had been simmering for some time before the gala event, but it was the catalyst that finally sent them over the edge. It was evident that Josh and Christiana's relationship had been severely damaged before to the public confrontation, and the discovery that they had been living separately for months only served to solidify their divorce. Josh and Christiana were both subject to public criticism and close examination as the court case progressed. Each new discovery ramped up the tension, making for an emotionally tumultuous process. The judicial battle's surprising turns and disclosures shown that even apparently ideal partnerships might have underlying problems. Both Josh and Christiana were altered irrevocably by the courtroom spectacle. A settlement reflecting the intricacies of their relationship and the difficulties they had endured was ultimately used to complete the divorce. Even if Christiana and Josh have moved on from the events, inquiries concerning them persist since the truth is out in the open. After their difficult and well-publicized separation, how will Josh and Christiana go on with their lives? Will they finally be able to put the past in the past, or will it keep coming back to haunt them? What fresh chapters lie ahead for them as they embark on their individual journeys?